Now look, let's come into chapter number 2, which is the lengthiest one. Right? Look at the chapter overview now. Right? What did we say about chapter 2 in the warm-up sessions? It's nothing but analysis of business environment. All the techniques which were used to analyze business environment were present in chapter number 2. Is that clear? Now, what are the two objectives of SM now? First one especially, to create a competitive advantage is one objective of SM, right? Do you remember that one? How an organization can achieve competitive advantage. Listen to this statement. How an organization achieves competitive advantage means with the help of a strategy called competitive strategy. The first point you have to understand is if any business organization prepares a competitive strategy. What do you mean by that? We'll discuss. If any business organization prepares a competitive strategy, then it will have competitive advantage. Have understood that relationship now? Please note it in the margin. Competitive strategy gives competitive advantage. Competitive strategy gives an organization competitive advantage. Have you noted that point now? Now please look at point number 4 in question 1. Look at point number 4. The objective of a competitive strategy is to generate a competitive advantage. What is one of the evidences that an organization enjoys competitive advantage? High market share. Is that clear? Now look at those keywords now. Increased market share is one evidence. So what is the one of the evidences that organization enjoys competitive advantage? High market share, increased market share. Now what is the ultimate purpose of a competitive strategy? What is the purpose of implementing a competitive strategy? To achieve a competitive advantage. Is that clear? Now listen to the next statement very carefully. How many strategic levels are there? In warm-up session we have discussed. There are 3 strategic levels, right? Corporate, business and functional level. Now please listen to this statement very carefully. We are discussing now a term called competitive strategy, right? Option 1 is corporate level strategies can be, whether corporate level strategies can be taken as examples for competitive strategies. Question number 1. Question number 2, you can guess whether business level strategies can be taken as examples for competitive strategy. And you can guess third question, whether functional level strategies can be taken as example for competitive strategy. Have understood 3 questions now, out of which the correct option is business level strategies stand as an example for corporate level strategies. Means we have 5 business level strategies, right? Those are nothing but the names of 5 business level strategies are nothing but examples of competitive strategies. Have understood that point? Please note that point in the margin. Business level strategies are examples of competitive strategy. Business level strategies can be taken as an example for competitive strategies. Have you noted that statement now? How many business level strategies are there? We already knew that fact. There are 5 different ways for a business organization to achieve competitive advantage. Have you understood that statement now? How many different ways are there for a business to achieve competitive advantage? Since there are 5 business level strategies, there are 5 different routes. Have you understood that point now? What is the first business level strategy? What is the one-line meaning of cost leadership strategy? To reduce the cost of production to the lowest extent possible. Is that right? If you can reduce the cost, can you enjoy a competitive advantage in the market? How can you justify that point? Assume that there are 2 business organizations. Let us have an assumed numbers. For business 1, cost is assumed to be 88. Margin is 12, MRP 100 for 1 unit of finished good. Let us take another example for business 2 now. Cost is around 69. Then your profit margin will increase. Assume that MRP is not changed. This is one scenario. Is that clear? What do you mean by cost leader? Whose cost of production is very low when compared to competitors, right? What do you mean by cost leader? A business organization whose cost of production is very low when compared to competitors is nothing but cost leader. Now look at this scenario. He's managed production only with just 69 rupees. Means he's a cost leader now. Now, how can he increase his market share now? Can you visualize? There are so many options. One of the option is you can put MRP as 100. You can have more profit margin. Else, if you want to throw away the first business out of the industry, then there is another logic. What is the COP for first business? Then please put up for few months 88 as MRP. For few months, put your MRP as 88. Since your cost is 69, you will have a profit margin of 19 rupees. Please put this MRP for 2 to 3 months. He will be out of the industry. After he is out of the industry, then please raise your MRP to 125. Please note this example. This is one approach to have competitive advantage using cost leadership thing. Please note this arithmetical example. For how many months will you charge MRP 88? For longer periods of time or for shorter period of time? Right. Have you noted that arithmetic example now? Why organization is following this strategy? To attract more customers? Is it one purpose of business? What is first evidence of having competitive advantage? High market share. What do you mean by high market share? The percentage for in every 100 more consumers must buy our product, right? Is that right? Means what is the essence of preparing? What is the purpose of having competitive strategies? To attract and retain more customers, right? Now look at the point. Have you noted this example now? Right. Look at fifth point now. What is the purpose of a competitive strategy? It contains the first step in competitive strategy preparation is how to attract and retain customers. How to attract and thereafter retain customers. What do you mean by the word retaining? Assume that you have acquired large market share. You have to protect that for longer periods of time, right? That is the meaning of the word retaining market share or customers. Now, what is the first activity you have to do while preparing competitive strategy? How to attract and thereafter how to retain customers. Look at the second word, to withstand competitive pressures. I'll give you a small industry example for this. How to withstand competitive pressures means recently Tata has started a business called, is that clear? It's an online based e-commerce business, right? Already Flipkart and Amazon were operating businesses, right? They are giving a facility called COD facility. We have discussed this business policy, right? As an example. What is COD? Cash on delivery. Is that clear? Is that clear? Now, think from the viewpoint of Tata New now. Can they take a gutsy decision? Tata New management fellows, can they take a gutsy decision that we are not going to operate, we are not going to offer cash on delivery? Right, please concentrate, else move out of the class. Right, okay. Can Tata business level managers, can they dare to do that step now? They have decided not to offer COD facility at all. Cash on delivery is not available. Can they sustain competition from Flipkart and Amazon? They are going to suffer, right, due to the absence of such facility. So how to withstand competitive pressure from Amazon and Flipkart means if the competitor is implementing that cash on delivery facility means people have appreciated already that facility, right? You have to offer that facility. There is no alternative to you. In order to withstand pressure, in order to withstand competitive pressure from competitors, you have to provide that facility. Have you understood that example now? Please note that industry example. How to withstand competitive pressure. Flipkart is offering some facility. Tata Neu has to offer that facility also. I will note that example now. So what is the first activity you have to do under competitive strategy? How to attract, and thereafter how to retain the customers. What is the second one you have to do? You have to withstand competitive pressure from competitors. One example is if Flipkart is offering cash on delivery facility, means you have to offer that feature also. Is that clear? Right. Now look at the point number C now, 5C. What do you mean by that? Strengthening its market position. Strengthening its, have we defined couple of words called market share and market position? What do you mean by the word market position? Right. The image of an organization in whose mind? In the minds of consumers is termed as a market position. So what is the market position of Apple nowadays? There are different images in different consumers. One is expensive products and the second one is innovative products. For some low caliber people, it's difficult to operate also. For some people, it's difficult to operate Apple smartphones. Is that clear? So different consumers will have different images, famous ones being innovative products and expensive in nature. Is that clear? Right. Now look at point number 5C. Can you explain me why 5C placed in your material under competitive strategy? Can you give me the reason? We're actually studying a concept called competitive strategy. What is the relationship between competitive strategy and strengthening market position? If you have a favorable market position, in the minds of consumers, definitely your sales will be more, right? Favorable market position leads to more sales. More sales leads to more market share. More market share is nothing but one evidence of competitive advantage. Have understood that relationship now? Please note that logical sequence. Please note the first word as a favorable market position. Favorable market position leads to more sales. It leads to more market share, leads to competitive advantage. I've understood that last statement now. Right. Can you name all the 3 activities to be performed while preparing competitive strategy now? You have to invent a plan as to how to attract and retain customers. Thereafter, you have to withstand pressure from whom? From competitors especially. What is the third point? You have to enhance your market position. What is the automatic consequence of increasing market position? High market share will be there. Ultimately, it leads to competitive advantage. Now, can you answer this simple question? What are the examples of competitive pressures? One such pressure is a cash on delivery facility offered by our competitors. Now, the essence of my question is, competitors is the only source of competitive pressure? Can I frame the question in other words? Do business organizations face competition only from competitors, or is there any other party also? Who are they then? Generally, business organizations face competition from competitors. It's common sense. Then, is there any other party who gives us some pressure? Somebody is saying politicians, somebody is saying suppliers, customers. Can you justify what is the pressure exerted by customers on business organization? They want better qualitative products at a reduced rates, right? Means customers will go for bargaining, right? They want to reduce the MRP rate. They ask for reduced prices, right? So customers enjoy which power now? Bargaining power. Now can we take another example called suppliers also, who provides raw materials? Suppliers will also enjoy a power called bargaining power. What do you mean by bargaining power? Supplier has decided not to reduce the cost of raw materials beyond a certain price. Let us assume that raw material cost is 79 rupees per kg. As a manufacturer, you have started bargaining now. You are a customer to his organization, right? You have asked to provide raw material, for example, 72 rupees per kg. But the supplier has decided that I won't sell a price below 79 at all. That firm decision by the supplier is known as, that quality of supplier is known as bargaining power of a supplier. Have you understood the essence of bargaining power of supplier now? So, if supplier doesn't decrease the price of raw materials, manufacturer's cost of production will be more. If cost is more means, assume that MRP is same, our profit margins will get decreased. Is it not a pressure now? Can I repeat that logic now? If supplier is not reducing the price of raw materials, then our cost of production will be more. Assume that MRP is same. When MRP is fixed, COP is more means our profit margin will get reduced. Is that clear? Is it not a pressure on manufacturer now? So supplier's bargaining power is also one source of pressure. Likewise, customers will always ask for reduced prices with improved qualities. So customers can also exercise some pressure on the business organizations. Have understood these couple of examples now? What are 3 examples we have discussed for competitive pressures? First one, very clearly competitors. They are trying to gain market share, our market share. Is that clear? So what is the first source of competitive pressure? Straight away, competitors. What is the second source of competitive pressure? Suppliers. What is the third one? Customers. Have understood these 3 things now? Now, please, for a minute now, please refer some 5th chapter now. Please open 5th chapter, preferably first question. Material was not provided. Fine. Right. Have understood these competitive pressures now? Please note the 3 names now in margin. The 3 sources of competitive pressure. Put up the heading in margin. 3 sources of competitive pressure. There are 5 in all actually. That's why I asked you to refer chapter 5. The 3 sources of competitive pressure. Put up the heading. The 3 sources of competitive pressure. The first one is obviously competitors. Second one, suppliers. Third one, customers. Now, as you are all hopefully good with accounting, can I ask a small question related to accounting and SM now? Right. We have purchased some fixed assets, right? For manufacturing purpose, we have to purchase some fixed assets, right? Means there will be one organization who is manufacturing and selling fixed assets, right? Assume that as a manufacturer, we have decided to purchase fixed assets from him. The supplier of fixed assets is not reducing the price of fixed assets. We need a fixed asset for manufacturing purposes. Supplier of fixed assets is now not reducing fixed asset price. Will it decrease our profit? Supplier of fixed assets is not decreasing the price of a fixed asset. Does it have any impact on manufacturer's profit? No. What is the reason? She is saying that in P&L account there will be no fixed assets, but the shadow of fixed assets will be there, depreciation. But the supplier is not willing to reduce the price of fixed assets. Main fixed assets acquisition cost will be more. If fixed asset acquisition cost is more, means gradually depreciation will be more. If depreciation is more, means your profit will be less. There is a pressure. So what is the essence then? Supplier of raw materials can exert pressure on us. In the same way, supplier of fixed assets can also put some competitive pressure on manufacturer. Have understood that logic now? So please note that last logic. Supplier includes both raw material supplier and fixed assets or equipment supplier also. So can you name me finally what are the 3 list of competitive pressures now for a manufacturer? Competitors, suppliers, customer. Under suppliers, supplier of both raw materials and also supplier of fixed assets. Is that clear? We'll continue in the next session. Thank you. 3 points, right? Under the 5th point hopefully in your first question, how to attract and retain customers. Why business organizations are trying to prepare competitive strategy? What is the ultimate purpose of organizations? To achieve some competitive advantage. Is that clear? Is that clear? Can I remind you a funny element in SM now? Right? You can write for any question in SM as the last point to attain competitive advantage. It applies to every concept. That is the ultimate purpose of business organization in using this subject. Is that clear? Now let's come to the topic called competitive advantage. First, we'll start with an industry example. There are some keywords. We'll refer them after the discussion. Providing more value for money in the second point, right? Providing, please highlight those words. I'll try to explain it with an example first. It's an ability of an organization to offer customers something different which provides more value for money. Then please highlight the next keyword in the third point. It's the result of a successful strategy. Replace that word successful with a competitive strategy. What are the keywords just we have highlighted? If an organization has high capacity or ability to offer more value for money. Is that clear? Right. Now listen to the example first. Listen to the example first. Please underline this one also. How to sustain a favorable market position. Then higher market share, higher profits. Our discussion has to revolve around these words now. Right. Before starting the discussion now regarding this concept, can you remind me what are the examples of competitive strategies? Can you remind me what are the examples of competitive strategies? Okay. There are three types of strategies, right, in an organization. Corporate strategies, business or divisional level, and the final one being functional. Every business level, listen to this statement, every business level strategy is an example of a competitive strategy. Every business level strategy can be taken as an example for which one? For competitive strategy. What do you mean by that statement now? If any organization wants to achieve competitive advantage, they have to design their business level strategy in a successful manner first. Means, what do you mean by that? Again, if any business organization wants to achieve competitive advantage, there are 5 different routes. The first one being cost leadership strategy. Have you understood the essence of that statement now? Shall I repeat the entire logic? Every business strategy, every business level strategy can be taken as an example for which concept? Your first question called competitive strategy. How many business level strategies are there in number? There are 5 in number, right? Means there are 5 different routes to achieve competitive. There are 5 different routes to prepare your competitive strategy. Is that clear? Is that clear? Shall I repeat that again? How many business level strategies are there? 5 in number, serially, in detail. Broadly, there are 3 in number, right? Right. Now, how many are there in number? Right. 5 business level strategies, including BCP also. Focus broadly in general, and that 3 also is in some author books now. What are those 3 means? Cost leadership, differentiation, focus. They don't talk about BCP while numbering the strategies. But we are explaining in depth now. How many business level strategies are there in number? 5. What do you mean by that? There are 5 different routes. There are 5 different routes you can prepare a competitive strategy. Is that clear? There are 5 different routes to prepare a competitive strategy. Why you are preparing competitive strategy? Just now we have released a statement to achieve a competitive advantage. Now can I say this further statement now? There are 5 different routes for any business organization to achieve competitive advantage. Have understood that essence now? So please note this essence first. All business level strategies are examples for competitive strategy. What is the purpose of competitive strategy then? To achieve competitive advantage. Then we came to this concept now. Now listen to the example of competitive advantage. Right? We'll start with branded examples right now. Apple has introduced first iPhone in 2007. The main competitors to Apple organization in those days were Samsung, Nokia. Nokia was a big organization up to 2009, right? I'm talking about 2007. Someone correctly pronounced it. The main competitor, the heavy organizations, competitors to Apple are in 2007. First one is Nokia, Samsung is there, BlackBerry is there, Sony Ericsson is there. There is an organization called Sony Ericsson. These are very, very financially strong competitors to Apple organization in which year? In 2007. They have huge financial resources. They have huge research and development capabilities also in the year 2007 itself. Even then, now in the smartphone industry, there are two leading organizations, namely Apple, thereafter followed by Samsung nowadays. The top two positions were occupied these organizations. Even in 2022 or 23 also, Samsung couldn't beat Apple organization to take the lead position. They are financially strong. They have thousands of employees in their research and development category. They couldn't do that at all. BlackBerry is almost out of the industry nowadays. They couldn't manufacture a smartphone like that of Apple Corporation. Means why Apple is leading in a certain industry means that is a proof that they have competitive advantage. Have understood that first example now? Which has a more competitive advantage in the smartphone industry? Apple organization followed by Samsung. There are heavy financial strong organizations also, but they cannot take over Apple organization in that smartphone industry. Now you have to question me, sir, being so financially strong, can't they prepare successful competitive strategies to beat Apple organization? You have to question one thing. The year 2007, the difference between 2007 and 22 is almost 15 to 16 years. Can't the financially strong competitors, can't they beat Apple organization given the time period of 15 to 16 years? Means they can't. Means Apple must be doing something different. Is that clear? They must be doing some innovative things. There is some secrets in their research and development categories. Is that clear? Even financially strong organizations couldn't beat Apple nowadays. The same is the case with Tesla also in the electronic vehicle industry. The very strong competitors for Tesla organization are Hyundai. Ironically, comically, Apple also is trying to build an electric vehicle. They have started a project, but they have decided that this industry is not ours. Hopefully, they will end it up in future. Even Apple is trying to build a smart electric car now. Now, who is the leader in electric vehicle industry now? Tesla Motors has a competitive advantage. Why Hyundai is not taking over Tesla Motors in electric vehicle segment? Because they have something different now. Tesla Motors, they are enjoying some extra features. Have you understood that first examples of the industries now? Right? Now, look at the explanation. Look at Tesla Motors now regarding competitive advantage. They build electric vehicles first. They build electric vehicles which runs at high speeds. The main reason for high speed electric vehicles is the main component when compared to traditional car engines like petrol diesel consumption engines. Petrol diesel consumption engines are technically known as fossil fuel engines. When compared to fossil fuel engines, diesel or petrol engines, the battery is the main significant part in electric vehicles. What is the most significant component in electric vehicle segment means the most significant part is battery. Whereas if you come to diesel or petrol consumption, the engine is the significant part. Have you understood the first one? So they have created an extraordinary lithium based battery. A chemical component called battery based on lithium. They have researched how to manufacture a powerful lithium battery for the last 12 to 14 years now. Have understood the first significant why Tesla Motors is is having competitive advantage? Because they have manufactured a powerful battery for electric vehicles based on which chemical component? Lithium. Have understood this first concept of Tesla now? Now look at the other topics now. Look at the other advantages of competitive advantage of Tesla Motors. We have to relate this concept called competitive advantage along with another beautiful concept called core competencies also. Tesla Motors has developed a system. They are not trying to offer products at all. If every organization wants to sell some unique products, they won't last long in future. They may have high sales in near future only. The Tesla Motors, like Apple organization, they are trying to create a technical world called ecosystem. Then you have to question, what do you mean by the word called ecosystem? First, they are trying to manufacture an extraordinary battery based on which component? Lithium. What is the original purpose? They have to manufacture a beautiful, speedy electric vehicle, right? For electric vehicle, do you need charging outlets? When compared to Hyundai Motors, who is also trying to prepare electric vehicles, Tesla Motors is an advanced stage now because of some extra features called they are trying to build some infrastructure in USA where they are trying to launch their own like petrol filling stations. They are charging units. They have launched charging units around the country. Means they have an advantage. Have understood that one? Now look at the other advantage. All these are nothing but core competencies also. Look at the other factor advantage of Tesla Motors now. They every car will have a roof, right? They have built a sunroof system in which there will be involved solar panels. During daytime, it will be charged automatically while the car is driving. They have added that extra features also. By listening to these concepts, you might argue that why the Hyundai Motors can't do all those things. If they want to do all those things, they need another 14 years, right? In these 14 years, Tesla won't stop R&D. Have you understood the race between those organizations now? So this is called first mover advantage. Whoever starts first will be the winner. Have you understood these logics now? So what are the competitive advantages of Tesla Motors now? First one, high-speed electric vehicles. Most extraordinary. Which one? Lithium-based battery. Second one, they have established a sunroof system which will be automatically charged up. And the last one is they have introduced another facility called autopilot system. I have delivered that also. Charging units were placed all around the USA now. That is another feature. Look at the last feature of Tesla Motors. They have introduced a system in their electric vehicles called autopilot system. Look at the researches of these fellows now. They are not trying to sell cars for profit margins. They are not trying to enhance their net profit margins or operating profit margins. They are focusing on certain different things now. What do you mean by this autopilot feature? Means it is based on a machine learning software. Have you heard this artificial intelligence machine learning softwares? So they are trying to introduce an autopilot feature in every electric car. It is sold as at an extra price nowadays. If you want autopilot feature in Tesla electric vehicles, you have to purchase at an extra cost price. Then what is the purpose of this autopilot feature? Means the purpose of autopilot feature based on machine learning is to gather data. Then regarding what aspect it tries to gather data means it records all the possible combinations of driving decisions made by a driver on the highways or roads. Means the more you ride a vehicle, the more you ride a Tesla vehicle, the more data will be collected by autopilot software. Means after so many months or years, that electric vehicle of Tesla doesn't need a driver at all. It will record the directions of each road. It will record the driver's responses in that particular road in a country. Have you understood the meaning of autopilot feature now? They have developed all these features for the past 12 to 14 years. That's why competitors can't catch up Tesla Motors nowadays. Have you understood these features of Tesla Motors now? Why they are enjoying competitive advantage? Based on these discussions, now look at the keywords. We need not reproduce all these examples in your main examination. Our job to clear CA exam is you have to reproduce keywords after understanding the concept. Right? Now look at the first keyword. Does Tesla Motors have a favorable market position? It has a very great brand recognition. After Steve Jobs, Elon Musk is considered as the best CEO on planet Earth. The best CEO, innovative fellows, they have huge fan following also. Not for Tesla Motors itself, they have a personal huge fan following also. Steve Jobs and Elon Musk fellows. That is called brand recognition. Have you understood that one? Usually on a frequent basis, once in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, these highly respected CEOs, they will tweet some messages in relation to their industries. Huge millions and billions of followers are there. Means the person himself has a huge fan base. Have you understood that one? Such a person is not present in Hyundai Motors or any other motors. Have you understood this concept now? So why Tesla Motors is enjoying competitive advantage? Are you familiar with some words now? Now look at the text in your classwork now. Favorable market position. What do you mean by market position? image of an organization in the mind of a consumer. What do you mean by favorable market position? Consumer is feeling favorably about Tesla Motors nowadays and their products. Is that clear? They have created a market position, favorable market position, and they are trying to continue that. They are trying to maintain that favorable position over a longer periods of time. That is the meaning of the word sustaining. They are not trying to create a favorable position for 6 months or 1 year. They are trying to maintain it for longer periods of time. Now, have understood the word called sustaining a favorable market position? Now, what is the essence you have to understood from the first point in your classwork now? If any business organization, due to some unique features or R&Ds, if they can maintain or sustain a favorable market position, they will have competitive advantage. This is the area in which I say can pose some questions on you. Have you understood the concept now? If any business organization wants to enjoy competitive advantage, they have to create which position? They have to create a favorable market position. For how long? For how long? For longer periods of time. Have understood this logic now? Have understood this logic now? Right. Recently, Tesla Motors did some adventure also. They have done so many innovations technically, right? They can register all their copyrights, right? But they haven't do that. Look at that attitude of that CEO. They made all the innovations made by Tesla for the last 14 to 15 years. They made it public, open source. Anybody can use them in future. Now you might question that, what a stupid decision was that by that CEO? If anybody can copy that. But consumers are of the opinion that he's working for the safety of planet Earth actually. How to protect planet Earth is his vision. That's why he made electric vehicles. He is trying to launch some residential plots on Mars also after 20 years. Hopefully by 2040 there will be a residential apartment in Mars. That is his ambitions, to save planet Earth. Now, what is the image of him by the public now? He's doing some good for planet Earth. Even if he releases all his technical innovations also, people will buy only Tesla Motors. Have understood that image factor now? Have understood these logics? So what is the first keyword you have to remember to clear your CA entry in November 2023 under this concept? Let's come to Brodipet now. What is that first one? You have to sustain a favorable market position. If you can sustain an FMP, you can have CA. Is that clear? So what is the keyword you have to remember to clear November 2023 under this concept? Create and sustain favorable, FMP to gain CA. Is that clear? So please note that in the margins preferably. Who will read all these English sentences at revision time? I want to save your time, right? Create and sustain what one? FMP. It will give you your CA inter certificate in November 2023, else competitive advantage for business houses. Have understood that first point now, right? What is the word you have to remember? For what purpose? For what purpose? To understand either theoretical questions or scenario based questions in which attempt? In November 2023. To get what certificate? CA inter both. Now, have you understood the first point now? Now look at the keywords in the second point. Is Tesla Motors offering more value for customers' money? Are they not offering sunroof facility to charge automatically? Or they not trying to provide national wise infrastructure for filling stations purpose, for charging purposes? Means they are trying to provide more value for customers' money. Now please highlight the second word. Ability of Tesla Motors to provide buyers something different, that is nothing but providing more value to customers. Now can you remind me what is the meaning of the word value from economics point of view, from foundation? What do you mean by the word called value? Can I give you a simple example now? Will you eat rice batter or will you eat dosa? Which one will you prefer? Will you eat raw materials or will you eat will you consume finished good? So conversion of raw material into finished good is nothing but provision of value to the customer. Have understood this little example now? So what do you mean by providing value to the customer? Because he cannot straight away eat rice batter. He can only consume dosa or idli. Have you understood that logic now? So what is the second keyword you have to remember under this concept? It's an ability. Competitive advantage means ability of an organization to provide more value for customers. Value is nothing but level of satisfaction. Please note that word. Level of customer satisfaction or utility in your economics point of view. Utility. Have you noted those couple of keywords now under 2 points? Now please focus on third statement in your classwork. It is the result of which strategy? What are the examples of competitive strategies? How many are there in number? 5. What is the first one? Now hopefully you'll answer this small question now. Tesla Motors is trying to is it trying to reduce the cost of production? Means that they are not following which strategy? Cost reduction. They are following which strategy then? Whatever the cost or production is, they want to offer something unique for rich customers. Is that clear? So Tesla Motors is applying which business level strategy nowadays? Differentiation strategy for the time being. Because we haven't yet explained the difference between differentiation and focus differentiation. Is that clear? So please, for the point of time, you can remember that Tesla Motors is applying which business level strategy? A type of differentiation strategy. Have you understood third point now? What are the first keywords present in first 3 points now? First one, create and sustain FMP to achieve what? Competitive advantage. What is the second one? Organization's ability to provide more value. What do you mean by more value? More level of satisfaction or utility for customers through various routes. What is the third essence now? Third point essence. If you use some business level strategies, you have to get some competitive advantage. Is that clear? Now look at the fourth point now. What is the evidence that Tesla Motors is enjoying competitive advantage? These are the two evidences under fourth point. Look at the first one, high market share. More number of consumers, for every 100 consumers are purchasing Tesla Motors electric vehicles. Hopefully in the next year, 2024, hopefully. He had a long meeting with Narendra Modi also. Modi on a US trip in the recent week, right? He is asking for a permission to launch some manufacturing facilities in India in 2024. Both Tesla and Apple have something in common. They have huge manufacturing facilities at China now. They want to enter into India also. Means Tesla Motors is trying to establish factories in which year? 2024. Hopefully in India, subject to the permission of Union government. Is that clear? What will be the next elections time now? Right. Means Tesla's decision might be postponed for another 12 months. We have to wait whether it is BJP or any other thing. Right. Now, what is the evidence that an organization is enjoying competitive advantage? First evidence is they should possess a high market share. What is the second evidence? Preferably higher profits when compared to whom? When compared to competitors. It's a common sense. Are you comfortable with 4 points now? Now please have a quick revision of the keywords. I may ask some question on some student. Right, have you finished it off? Right, can I ask a small question now? Right, what are the keywords present in competitive strategy? I said that I will ask a question. Right, what is the first keyword used to define competitive strategy? How to attract and retain customers? What is the second one? What is the second one? Now, what is the first keyword in this competitive advantage concept? Create and sustain what one? Favorable image or market position. Is that clear? What is the second keyword? Means you are trying to provide more value. Is that clear? Third one. It is the result of which strategy? What are the two evidences? No, this part is your responsibility. Trying to remember all those keywords. Now look at the last one. Very silly point. He has referred to the first two names of business level strategies. By using either cost leadership strategy or differentiation strategy, you can gain competitive advantage. Look at those keywords now. Please highlight that word. Competitive advantage may be in the form of means what strategy? Being unique. These are the two prime ways to get competitive advantage. Have I understood this small concept now? Right. Right. Second bench. Last girl. What are the keywords, Tali? What are the keywords to define competitive advantage? What do you mean by FMP? I need keywords, Tali. I have explained a lot. It took 30 minutes. I need keywords from exam point of view. This is a memory retaining step. Right. Why is it related to competitive advantage? What is the use of FMP? Yeah, you can have it Telugu also, fine. Example. I don't need example. I need keywords. You can't give keywords. Then how can we reproduce our concept in IC exams? He needs keywords. He won't ask what is going on in Tesla Motors. Let's sit up. Now can I give you small logic now? Right? What are the keywords? Can you remind me quickly under this easy concept? Create and sustain a FMP. Second one. More value. Can we use this moment, right? More value. It's useful for ICA main exam centers also. If same students fall in the same exam center room, right? What do you mean by that? Don't assign second meaning to this moment in SM, right? It means providing more value. What is the second one? It is the result of which strategy? What are the two evidences then? And even higher profits. What is the fifth one? Two names of examples. As per my estimation or experience, I cannot predict paper. Hopefully there might be a question on this concept in your respective attempt. Hopefully. I cannot exactly predict. Hopefully. Right. After this little concept, shall I explain you one reason now? Right? Why drowsiness comes to students? Or why drowsiness comes to any human being? Shall I explain it in a very scientific manner? Since my mother is a doctor, she explained it to all those things to me, right? Can I explain that logic to you? Can I explain that logic to you? Right. Right. Yes, I'm coming to it, Tali. How to avoid it? Right. There are so many reasons for drowsiness. Let me explain you one reason first. Right. There is some predetermined space in the human stomach, right? There will be some space in human stomach, right? This space is to be occupied by three aspects. The first one is, as usual, food, water, and air. If these three elements are in correct proportion, then you won't get drowsiness during active working hours. I will explain the logic behind it. Let us assume that your stomach is supposed to have 70% of food material. Yes, you should fill it up with around 10 to 15% with water and another 10 to 15% approximately with air element. If you consume more food because you found a favorite breakfast, you had an extra thing, right? assume that you have consumed more food now. Then if your food quantity in your stomach, if it exceeds that 70% space in your stomach, then what will be reduced now? The other two elements will be reduced in percentages or quantities. Means it takes more digestion time. At the same time, some quantity of the blood will be transferred to your stomach department for digestion purposes. A predetermined quantity of blood will be transferred to stomach for digestion purposes. But you ate more food because of some reasons, means it needs more blood. For want of blood, the brain will transfer some part of the blood which is present in your brain to stomach for extra digestion capacity. Whenever the quantity of blood is lowered down in your brain, then you will get drowsiness. It's not sleep. Sleep is different from drowsiness. Have you understood this little concept? along with competitive advantage. Are you clear with it? Right, means you have to plan your consumption of food also in terms of quantities. I'm not talking about the varieties of breakfast, taste, etc. Is it delicious or not? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about quantities. Have you understood that concept now? Right, now let's focus on another concept in SM. Right, look at the next concept called core competency. Have you understood that explanation? Fine, to some extent at least. Look at the next concept called core competencies. What are the two concepts which we covered in chapter 2 now? First one, competitive strategy. What is the second one? Competitive advantage. Now look at the third concept called CC. Can you remind yourself what is the seventh importance or benefit of SM? SM gives each organization CC plus CA. Right? Now look at the next concept. There are two philosophers, one favorably an Indian person. Prahalad and Gary Hamel have introduced this concept of core competency. Right, now listen to this explanation now. If ICA poses a scenario based question, then difficulty arises in management paper. If you have some by-hearting power also, you can represent some keywords. It's not an issue. But ICA comes up with scenario based questions. Now listen to this explanation first very carefully. It's a very crucial concept. So many people are of the opinion that by watching the word in your first point under meaning, look at that word, unique strength. You'll also find the same word in competitive advantage also, providing some unique features. You'll find the same word in differentiation strategy also, providing some unique features. Have you understood that logic now? Now listen to this explanation carefully. So many people are of the opinion that core competency is in the form of a finished good. Core competency doesn't talk about your finished good at all. Means it is not tangible. Have you understood that first clarification now? Core competency means it doesn't represent your finished good at all. You might manufacture a very good finished good which provides more value to customers. We have to understand what is not meant by core competence first. So core competency means it does not represent your qualitative finished good. Is that clear? Second clarification. Core competency doesn't represent any fixed asset or equipment in the factory. Have you understood these things now? Third clarification, core competency doesn't represent any skillful employee in any organization. First, we have to understand these three aspects. Now, let's use some common sense in understanding these three clarifications now, right? If core competency assume that core competency is equal to qualitative finished good. Assume that core competency is equal to skilled employee. Then that employee can be captured by your competitor organization. Have understood that logic now? Assume that core competency means an advanced technical instrument in your factory. Competitor can also buy it. He is rich. Have understood that clarifications now? So what do you mean by the essence of this word called core competency? It is not a tangible thing at all. It is not an employee. It's not a fixed asset. It's not your finished good. It's an intangible thing. Have understood this first clarification now? So please note these three keywords in your margin. What is not core competency? Please note those three words. Employee, skilled employee. It's not a fixed asset. It's not even finished good. Have you written those three things now? Then what is the first thing you have to understand about core competency? It's an intangible thing. It must be some intangible thing. It's not finished good. I have written abbreviations. It's not finished good. It's not any skilled employee also. It's not even fixed asset. It must be some intangible thing. Have you understood that first clarification now? Have you noted all those three key references now? Have you understood the Tesla Motors example under competitive advantage? Now that example is so useful to understand this. Now look at the purpose of core competency. Assume that an organization has an intangible quality called core competency. Then they will be having competitive advantage. What did I say? if any business organization has certain core competencies, some intangible things, some intangible assets, they will have competitive advantage. Have you listened to this last statement now? What is that statement? If any business organization has certain core competencies, they will be having finally competitive advantage. Is that clear? Is that clear? Now listen to the explanation part. Did I use the word ecosystem regarding Tesla Motors? They are not simply manufacturing electric vehicles to have more profits or more market share. They can only sustain for 2, 3, 4 or 5 years. Competitors will copy everything, right? So what is the ultimate, how a business organization can achieve ultimate competitive advantage? We have used a word called sustaining also in competitive advantage. Means having CA, competitive advantage, over a long periods of time. It's not by manufacturing and selling a simple product. It's by establishing a which system? Ecosystem. What do you mean by ecosystem? It's not one strength or skill this Tesla Motors is possessing nowadays. It has at least 4 or 5 skills are there. Have understood that logic now? What are those 4 names we have used in Tesla Motors example? One is advanced lithium based battery, sunroof for automatic refilling. They have introduced an autopilot feature in their cars. Fourth one, they're trying to build an infrastructure throughout the country. Is that clear? Is that clear? Now, shall I give you another feature also? While the customer is not driving the car, while the owner is not driving the car, it will be at parking lot at their house or apartment, right? Is that clear? Then he is trying to develop another feature called when the car is not on the drive, it has to be automatically charged up. They are trying to invent a software nowadays. Whereas Hyundai Motors is trying to develop electric vehicles without all these facilities. How can they beat Tesla Motors? Means core competency is not a tangible thing. It's an intangible thing. First clarity. Second thing, core competency means it's not single skill. It's a combination of several different skills. Industry standard says minimum 4 to 5 skills, unique skills should be possessed by an organization to have that core competency. As a manager of a business organization, if I ask you to prepare the list of CCs for an organization, there has to be minimum of 4 to 5. It can't be more than 9 or 10 or 15 maximum. 5 to 15 is the industry range. Any organization is supposed to have core competencies as a list of ranging from 5 to 15 approximately. As a manager of a business organization, you can't prepare a list of core competencies, let us say 97 for our organization. It's a heavy nonsense word. You cannot have 97. If you want to have 97 CCs means the research itself will take 350 or 400 years. So have you understood that concept now? What is the first concept? What is not core competency we have defined? What is the second one? It's an intangible thing. Next one, core competency is not an individual or single skill. It's a combination of several skills. Combination of several skills can be referred to as ecosystem. Have you understood that logic now? So please write that reference word called ecosystem besides the point number 3 in your classwork. Because we have a word called combination of several skills and techniques rather than an individual technique. This is the word ICA expects from you for the definition part. Have you written that extra word called ecosystem now? Having combination of different unique skills or strengths. Now look at the other word in the third paragraph itself. It's a combination of, we have used a word called combination of several skills, right? What do you mean by that combination? The elements in that combination are referred to in your third line and third point. It's a superior integration of, please highlight that part of the sentence. It's CC is nothing but a superior combination, integration of so many skills. For example, technical resources, physical resources, and human resources. Now, what is the keyword used to define this concept called CC now? It refers to, is it a single skill or a combination of skills? What is the example keyword we have used for it? It's an ecosystem having so many features offered by Tesla Motors. Is that clear? It is not a single skill. It's a combination of skills. What do you mean by combination of skills? It is called superior integration of which resources, for example? Human resources, physical resources, and technological resources. Now listen to the next statement very carefully. They have found a procedure or a method as to how to use these combination of resources which is unknown to the competitors. Have understood that logic now? Anybody can purchase these employees or physical assets. They have found a specific procedure as to how to offer all those features in the ecosystem which is unknown to the competitors till today. Have understood the meaning of the word superior integration? Everybody can recruit those skilled employees. Everybody can purchase those fixed assets. But organization has to identify what is the specific method to use all those resources to achieve CCs. Have understood that one? The method of the thought process is called intangible. They have a thought process which is unknown to your competitors. Have I understood that logic now? So please highlight that part of the sentence called superior integration of so and so resources. It could be intangible resources. What do you mean by intangible or invisible? There is a thought process for Tesla Motors which is unknown to the competitors till today. Now, what is the first keyword referred to under first point under your meaning? It must be a unique strength. That word itself says it is intangible. Please note that reference now. What do you mean by strength? It's an intangible thing. Is it a single strength or a combination of skills? Is it a combination? What are the elements present in that combination? It could be combination of human resources, technical resources, and thereafter physical resources. How to use them in a mixed proportion means it is unknown to the competitors. Have you understood that thought process now? Right. Now look at the fourth one. Look at the fourth one. Before that, we'll discuss fifth one now. If any organization wants to have if any organization at present now trying to say that we have CC, we have core competency, then it has to satisfy three conditions. If any organization claims that we have core competencies, then they have to satisfy three conditions first. Look at those three conditions in your point number 5. If you want to call a specific skill as core competency, it has to satisfy the following three conditions. Look at the three conditions now. Look at the first one. It should provide. What is the claim of an organization now? They are saying that they are claiming that we have a core competency. What is the evidence then? Look at the first evidence. That core competency claimed by business organization should have potential access to a wide variety of markets. Normally, as per my experience, by God's grace, I'm not boasting myself, as per my past experience, so many students in these management papers or some audit papers or some other papers, they by heart all these words. They try to reproduce those words. If it's a straight theory question, no problem with ICA. If it's a scenario-based question, there might be some difficulty. You have to understand that concept to the extent possible behind every word. Then it is easy to memorize also. Now look at the first condition. Look at the condition. Let's take a small industry example now. There is a Japanese company called Honda, right? Right? If you find time also at your holidays after exams, you have to purchase that biography of Honda company's founders. It's a very inspiring story actually. Now look at the industry example now. Honda has competitive advantage. What is the first statement we have is Honda organization in the manufacturing cars. In how many industries they are now? For example, they are manufacturing cars. They are manufacturing generators. Assume that you became rich in near future after qualification. You became so rich person. Then in front of your house, you might be dreaming of having a lawn facility, LAWN. In order to maintain that lawn facility or cut the grass or the surface, you have to use lawn mower, a machine which is prepared by Honda. In European countries or some ice cold countries, there will be lots of cumulative snowfalls, right? To remove that snow from their houses, from their windows, from all their roads, European countries have a great difficulty now. Honda is the first company to release a product called snow blower. It blows the snow from their house or roads so that they can do their daily activities. So Honda is dealing with so many products nowadays. What is the famous one? Cars. Second one, generator facilities or some small sorts of engines. Third one, lawn mower. Fourth one, snow blower. There are lots of products prepared by Honda. Why we are discussing these multi products manufactured by Honda means, look at the core competency of Honda. They have made huge research to build a engine, very powerful engine. This is the core competency of Honda organization. If you take Toyota also, any other car, the engines of Honda are very powerful. Right? So what is their first core competency? They are claiming that Honda organization core competency is manufacturing our own special engine. Then it has to satisfy first condition in point number 5A of your classwork, right? Honda has to satisfy your conditions also, right? Now what is the first condition, 5A? It has to provide access, means you have to enter into, with the help of core competency. Listen to this statement. With the help of core competency, what is the core competency of Honda organization? Building that powerful small engine. With the help of powerful engine, Honda is trying to insert that engine into cars, into generators, into snow blowers, into lawn mowers also. Means the research is useful for so many products. Is that clear? That is called giving access. Core competencies of a business organization should give access to the business organization. With the help of that CC, they have to develop multiple products. Have understood this concept now? Have understood the word called providing access? Who is providing access? Core competency has to provide access for Honda organization to manufacture multi products on the same engine called a smart engine. Have you understood that logic now? Assume that on the other hand, assume that Honda prepared an engine, powerful engine, which is meant for only cars. You cannot call it as a CC. It violated the first condition. Have understood that logic now? Now, can I take a small example from cainter students' point of view? Assume that your brain works very well for accounting paper. It's not a CC for you. It should work for other papers also. It's a very simple example. Have understood that logic now? Your brain should provide access to all the 8 papers to clear November 2023. Have understood that condition number 1 now? Right? Right, fine. It's a supporting statement. It's not a doubt. Don't worry about it. Right. Have you understood the first condition now? So what is the first condition? If a company wants to enjoy core competencies, what is the first condition you have to satisfy? It should provide access to single market, single product market, wide variety of markets. Have you understood that example? Please note those industry examples under 5A. Car, engine, it can be used in car. Thereafter, what is the last funny term? Snow blower. We have vacuum blowers, right? Dust blowers, right? Now, have I understood the first condition now? Have I understood the first condition now? Have you written those examples? Multiple products. In the similar way, Apple enjoys also core competencies. They can use their researches in multi-products like iPod, iPhone, because they are using same operating system, iOS, for so many things nowadays. Means they are enjoying CC, core competency. Right. Now look at the second condition now. There should be some benefits from that Honda engine. Honda can't claim that we have made a powerful engine. That should be beneficial from whose point of view? From customer's point of view. If there is no use for customers, means how can you call it as a CC? I've understood that logic now. What is the second condition? It should be beneficial from whose point of view? That is look at the technical word used in your 5B. It should be useful for whom? Right. Look at this word. Perceived customer benefits. Benefit should be there from customer's point of view. Every organization will say that we are great, we are number 1, we are number 2. It is the customer who has to actually judge the organizations, right? Have you understood the second condition now? Now, what are the 2 conditions to call core competencies? First one, it should provide access to wide market. So what is the second condition? It should be actually beneficial from customer's point of view. What is the extra word you have to remember? Means that, right? After that, another word. Let me explain my concepts. Right? There is a word in icaistudymaterial also. You have to note that one in your material. The customer should have the product should have a real impact on consumer brain. That is the word used. It might fall in exam questions also. The product should have a real impact on the consumer brain. right? Have you heard this organization called Toyota Motors? But for past 15 to 25 years, they have been trying to imitate this Honda engine, how they manufactured that. They couldn't do that for the past 20 years also. Look at the third condition. If you claim that you have a CC, it should be difficult to imitate by your competitors. Have you understood that third condition now? So please highlight that word. It should be difficult to imitate by your competitors. Right. The third point and the fifth point are the essence of this entire concept. Third point gives you technical keywords to define that. It's not a single strength. It's a combination of physical resources, human resources, technical resources. Core competency is not a tangible thing. It must be an intangible thing or unique strength. Now, what are the three conditions to be satisfied by an organization if you want to claim that you have CCs? Three things. It should provide access to wide variety of markets. Second one, it should be beneficial from whose point of view? Means product should have a real impact on customer's brain. Is that clear? What is the third condition? Imitate. Now listen to this strange statement. Everything can be copied over a periods of time, right? Then what about CCs of Honda now? If any other motor company tries to copy the technology of engine by Honda, they have to invent some other CC. Why continued research and development facility is there in big organizations? Means every competitor will try to imitate all those features, preferably in 5 years or 10 years or 12 years. Then you have to invent another CC for you. Have you understood that logic now? Now look at the procedural part of the question now. Look at the sixth point. One example is there. Marketing and distribution is the CC of HUL. They have a very powerful distribution network. You can find a small clinic plus shampoo in a remote village in India also. A 2 rupee sachet. That is the power of strong distribution network. This is CC of HUL company. How to do marketing and distribution network? Everybody has to learn from HUL company, which is not an Indian company actually, but it rules India nowadays. Have I understood that? Please note that example now. Marketing and sales is a CC of which organization? HUL. Now look at the seventh point. He has used a word called Walmart organization. The CC, the core competency of Walmart organization is trying to decrease the operating activities cost. That is their CC. Have you heard this facility? In each supermarket, nowadays every Indian market is providing that facility. They will provide to customer a trolley cart. Will place all those goods while shopping, right? Why they have provided that facility? Because they have a concern for customers? No. They want, if all of a sudden, if thousands of customers come into the supermarket, how many sales boys should be there to offer those goods, to supply those goods to thousands of customers? It's not possible. It will be delayed thing. Plus staff salary. What about staff salary if you recruit thousands of employees in single supermarket? So Walmart management is trying to reduce their operational costs. They want to try to reduce the staff salary expenses. That is the logic why they have introduced a trolley cart facility. They are trying to reduce operational activities cost. Have I understood that example? Then what is the example CC for Walmart organization? Reduced operational cost. What is the example CC for HUL? Distribution network. Is that clear? Those are the two examples. Now have you understood this concept of CC now along with three conditions?